A lot has happened since I made my last video where I did not have a rating at chess.com because I've been playing the bots and I still play the bots. But in order to get a rating, you need to play a real live person online. So I took the plunge and got through the stress, and it was like, oh my goodness. So I played my first game and I actually won. So I'm going to show you momentarily the rating. But you start off, as I understand things, at 400, and then it's in the I play rapid, or what is called rapid. Rapid is anything that is 10 minutes or more. So I played a 15-10 game, which means that each person has 15 minutes to their side, and then for each move you make, you get an additional 10 seconds. So if, say, the first move I do at 14:55, it's counted down 5 seconds, I get 10 more seconds, and now I got 15:05. So if you play a little quicker, you get a little bit more time. So I'm just going to flip the feed and show you my rating. So there you have it right there. Rapid 617. Now this is not my rating. My actually rating is a little higher. I think it's like 815, 820, something like that. We'll have a look up a little bit later. But for posterity, I wanted to show you my first rating. So there it is, chess.com, completed games. December the 30th, I played Matt. And then after the game, this is after, my score went up to 617, as you can see here, the rapid. So that was, I'm not sure if it shows 1510. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe when a more uh, in depth, but this is just the summary. That's what if only I could talk and think at the same time. This is the summary, but I wanted to show you because I was excited about it. I remember when I got it, I started yelling, and my son thought there was something wrong with Daddy. He said to my, no, let's go have a look, and it was just my rating. So I was just excited to get that sort of like the first live game out of the way. And so we're going to have a look at that game and do an analysis. But before that, I just want to mention I did try bullet chess. Bullet chess is a completely different animal. Bullet is 3 minutes or less. So I tried a 1 minute game with one of my colleagues at work on the smartphone, and it destroyed me. It just annihilated me because it's so quick. I thought I can talk or I can breathe, but I can't do both. So I thought, you know what, I better breathe. And the game was obviously over in less than a minute, and I was losing pieces. I had no idea what to do. I'm just looking at the screen. It was a little bit tougher because it was on a phone, but it was just a complete disaster. So we are definitely going to uh, stay with the more sedate kind of games. I'm gonna go revisit Bullet, but I gotta find a methodology because I clearly don't have one. But right now I'm playing the 15 to 10. I've played a few 10 minute games, most in fact all against the bots, and that's not been too bad. I haven't lost. I think I lost one game on time, but the 15 to 10 is a good middle ground for me in what would be classical chess. So we're just going to have a little bit of a look at that. So just let me switch my feed because I've updated all my setup, so I'm still getting used to the entire feed. There we go. So we're going to have a little look at this and do an analysis. I've learned how to do how this works, and we're going to walk and talk through it a little bit. And so what I've found that for white, we haven't started yet because I was playing white, and obviously Matt was playing black. And with the engine, because it runs it through a computer engine, if you're plus on the white, white is ahead. But it has really, if it's over 1, then if it's below 1, like say here 0.5 before we've even started, then, or say it's -5, which goes to black, or negative, pardon me, negative 0.5, it goes to black. It's kind of even. Only starts to make a difference when it goes +1 or -1. -1 for the black, +1 for the white, which means, as I understand things, having researched just a little bit, it means like 1 pawn. So if you're up 3, you're the equivalent of, say, a bishop or a knight, and then and so forth and so forth. So you can see we start at 15, and we're going to go for the first move. This is me moving. So starting with the London system, which we're going to cover a little bit later. So with this video, we're going to look at 3 things. First of all is we're going to analyze this game, and then we're going to look at the London system a little bit, just an overview, and then we're going to look at some resources for learning chess online. I've got a full description down below in the comments with links, and hopefully you'll find that helpful. This is what I use quite regularly to help boost my chess knowledge. So here we go. We'll go 1. Okay, so we're starting off at d4 pawn and calling it a book move. All right, seems okay to me. Next move, similarly d5 book move. Now here we're going to move the bishop, which is sort of standard in the London system. And let's see what happens next. Okay, we do the knight, and then we move. So these 3 things, though people disagree, we're going to have a little closer look at it a little bit later on a different chessboard. Some people vary the order. In terms of like the pawn always goes first, d4. However, some people bring the bishop out, some people bring the knight, and some people bring this knight out to c3. I've looked at different training videos by different people who are at some of the resources actually, and it's a different spin on it. So you have the main line, some variants. So definitely an interesting way to do it. Yeah, we go to the next one. Okay. Where white is a little bit up at 0.9, but not too bad. Okay, that's another. You bring up the pawn to e3. The computer seemed to be happy with that. Oh, they figure that's a mistake or an inaccuracy. The computer goes in 3 different ways. You have an inaccuracy. This is an inaccuracy. Then you have a mistake, and then you have a blunder. Either way of the 3, you've screwed up in some way. And the blunder's the worst because it can be fatal to your game where you've gone, oh my goodness, and I've done that more than once where I wasn't looking, I was tired, I was just being stupid. I've had my rook taken, my queen's taken, oh my goodness, and all that kind of stuff. So that's when we get into a blunder, but they're calling this an inaccuracy. So let's see where we go now. Okay, didn't like me pulling the bishop back. Should have taken the pawn, but you know, I like keeping my bishop. So, but I'm still up a little bit, but the game is still fairly even now. Brought the queen out. Lately, I've been playing people very aggressive, where I've been playing black or white, and they've brought their knights very much attacking, and the queen, and just have pounded me, and then they've made a mistake, and I've come back to beat them because I do a slower development positional style. I don't know if I started that way, but that's what I have right now. And oh, didn't let me bring in the bishop, but that's okay. That's fairly standard because now I can castle and I can bring my bishop out, but it really wants me to take that space in the center and then go after the queen. But I guess I just wasn't feeling it that day. Oh, yeah, it wanted me to castle. Threatening my knight. Yeah, I did move it. Okay, I like my knight. Yeah, castle. Following classical lines. Tuck the king in. Oh, bringing up the pawns. He is. Yeah, that is part of the London system. Oh, even though it classified that as a blunder. See, it's marked in red, blunder. I'm still a little bit ahead, but it really wanted me to take that and put some stress on the queen. I was just concerned about bringing up my pawn structure, so it didn't like that. Didn't like what he did now. I got pressure on my bishop. So I'm thinking I'm going to move it. Yeah, brought it back. Oh, it's a miss win. Well, I know we're not quite ready for a miss win, but considering I'm here and he's up there, so sometimes you just have to take the computer with a grain of salt, especially in near openings. I've actually, there's a link below in one of the resources, which I'll mention later, about of how to look at analyses with a computer and looking at a board and doing like real game analysis with a human being. It's a very interesting take on it. Link down below in the description. I think you'll enjoy it and find it informative. Oh. Okay, back in good graces, putting some pressure on that queen. Yep, not going to lose the queen just quite yet. But I seem to be up a little bit. I'm up 3.8. So, as you can see, like the meter here. So the game seems to be going in my favor at this time. But, you know, disaster is always a heartbeat away. Didn't like that. But I bring out my bishop so it has a line across the middle because it goes across the 4 center squares. And it is putting pressure on that queen. So I'm not sure why the computer thinks that to be a blunder, because it's really dropped down my rating. It really wanted me to bring that pawn up. Oh, yeah. So they're on the move. They're taking a little bit of space. Well, didn't like bringing my queen up. I thought it might be time to bring my queen up, but it's in that. Now we're showing a slight edge to black. Oh, queen. Okay, move there. Bishop. Attaboy. So now I'm putting pressure on that knight, but I'm putting pressure on the other knight. It's a fork, but realistically, I'm not going to take it because it's protected by the rook and it's protected by the pawn, and that would be needlessly throwing my bishop away. I mean, I'd get some material, but it would just be a trade. You know, bishop for rook because it has the same amount of material. Let's see where we're going now. Okay. Okay, it's putting pressure on my bishop. Other than that, it maybe go there, maybe put pressure on the other bishop, but well, I'm protecting it. It wanted me to go back, but I've kind of got my position there, getting into black space, so I'm not too keen on losing it right now, realizing that the bishop is a longer range weapon. Think of it as a sniper as opposed to like the knights, which are close quarters breacher kind of guys. But I don't know, I like the thought that I got a little bit into black space. Now let's continue. Okay, bring the pawn up. No, didn't like that. Protecting my own pawn. It really wanted me to take. Well, now I can take the knight. Well, I guess I missed an opportunity. Maybe I should have taken it, but that's okay. Okay, protect that. Yeah, we're game's still about even. Okay, not too much there. Yeah, trade of pawns. Now we're starting to open things up. The rooks, of course, are connected, and we've got nearly an empty file there, so there's an opportunity building to get into the back. He brought his king out. Okay, connected the rooks, but I'll be sliding him maybe back to a little safety. I like leaving my king, you know, protected if I can, but he's definitely more exposed. Oh, I think I was thinking about that. The computer wanted me to do that, but I like the thought of getting a file so I can start getting towards the back of the board, back rank work. See right there, he opened it up for me, right? It's tricky. It's almost there. So I seem to be up a little bit, up 4.5. So that's almost a rook, but a bishop or a knight and a pawn. But you know, we're slightly ahead. But disaster can just be a heartbeat away. Okay, didn't like that. It took away all my creds. Look at that. Minus 2.5. Now that put it back into black's territory. Okay, now black is leading according to the engine. Well, we'll see. I mean, I think I took the bishop there. No, I took that. No, okay. See, here I got some pressure here because maybe I didn't see it because he's forking my queen and my rook. So that was probably not my smartest move of the game. So now I've beaten a fork, but he may take my rook, and I like that rook. No, he didn't. Okay, so I'm up a little, but I was glad I was able to beat that fork. He decided to take that because I tend to work very well with my rooks and my queens to get like a rolling kind of check. No. Okay, I just wanted to move up my pawn. Oh, look at that. I got forked again. I don't know why they call that a inaccuracy, because now I've got another fork. And he's still not going for it. I'd be more inclined to go for the fork myself, just to put more pressure on me and lose one of my big heavy pieces, a rook or the queen. It's, you know, nail-biting stuff here. And they are showing black is edging me out a bit, so that the game has turned a little bit. Oh, missed the fork. Yeah, he didn't go for it. I'm not sure why. I really got out of that on the hair of my chinny chin, so to speak. I don't know why he didn't go for that, because I did it not once but twice. Clearly I was not paying attention there, but I managed to evade that. I'm not sure how, but see, he's going back. Why? See, right, lost his queen. Like, he protected it, bang. Let's go through that one more time. No, one before. Yeah. If I move that, he's gonna lose, because I'll trade a rook for a queen anytime. Like, no hesitation. Okay, so he moves the knight and that was the turning point of the game, where here back when I would have lost a fork, either the rook or the queen, that would have gone badly for me. Like, that was clearly, I did it once but twice, and I just slipped through that. I don't know how, but because we were evenly matched on score, because his points drop when you lose a game. You lose the points, you win, you gain some, draw, you gain a little bit, and of course if you lose, you lose points. But that was the turning point of the game. I lost the rook, and I get that, but I got the queen, and I'm up 1 point, but I'm much stronger on the board now, even though I've only got a rook, a queen, and a bishop, and a knight and a bishop. But that's a very effective fighting force. He's got the 2 rooks, so he's up on, but I've got my queen, so that's edging me out a little bit. He's got a few more, 1, 2, 5. No, pawns are the same, but so check for the black king. Oh, he's bringing it close. Oh, see, now I've got the fork going here versus the rook, and I probably will take the rook, because rooks are dangerous to me. That's in my, yeah, and I will trade that for the knight, because if I can knock down his rook and that puts me up material, I'm up 8 points. Yeah, I fully expected that, but for me that was a good trade. So now I've got 3: queen, rook, and bishop, and my pawns. So still an effective fighting force. The game is changing ever so slightly. Right there. Bang. So there was my first game with the analysis. I'm not a slave to it, but it gives me an idea. I think with the way I look at being new, because I wouldn't call myself a beginner, but I would put myself in the novice category, where I'm looking at pattern recognition. That's one of the reasons I've taken to the London early in my chess journey, is because I can play it positionally, and then I can go from there. That seems to be working well for me. So let's go have a little look at the London system, and then we're going to look at resources. So I'm just going to switch my feed a little bit, and then we're going to have a little look at a couple things. See if I get this right. I'm doing new tech here with the way I'm filming things. I've changed all of this around in the last week, so hopefully I'm getting this straight, because I can't see everything. So, and let's go to, this is a chess website where you can decode things. It will do an analysis. It's supposed to be good. I find it helpful. It's good for people who are under 1900 or so, and I can play with it, and I can load up games, and I can do a few little things that I can't do quite like the way I want to, say using other engines like chess.com and online. And I've got a few chess engines loaded on, but I like playing this just because I can punch it up on my browser and do a few things. Anyways, we're going to look at the London. This will go manually, because I can, the other reason is when I put a pawn out or anything, I don't have to reciprocate with another move. So I can just put pieces on the board, and that works well for my brain. So London always works off. It's very positional, all played for white. It's more than an opening, it's a system, hence called the London system. It was developed in a 1922 tournament in London, and it's fallen out of favor over the years, but it's recently regaining a lot of traction. There's renewed interest, and I seem to gravitate towards it because I tend to be like a systems kind of a guy. So it's the London system, good for opening. You can play it against a wide variety, and it's true. So I am learning the system, and this is not exhaustive. It's just a quick overview. So here we are on white. So we go pawn to d4, and then black will do whatever it's going to do. We'll say we go here, just for posterity. And the next one is develop the black bishop. The black bishop will try to run over to f4. Sometimes if there's some problems here, if someone's developed that, you may only be able to go here, or you may have to back off. If they develop another piece, you may have to go here. But this is the standard opening. There is some variation with different experts, chess players, and they may vary. They may bring, the other part is bringing your knight to f4. Now some develop the knight first and bring this up a little bit later. Some bring up the bishop, but I tend to bring the bishop because that way I can develop my dark knight, because that's one of the things with white. The dark knight is attractive to the London system, is that quite often the bishop gets trapped here, typically because we bring the pawn to, say, e3, because we need to do this before we move our pawn, obviously, so we don't trap this. And then the other pieces you can go, depending what's going on. The other part is to bring up the pawn, so you have this pawn structure, so it builds up the wall, and then we can bring our bishop out. Now if he was there, I would bring it to there. Now if he was just here, of course, I would bring it to c4, and then if he pushes, well, I'll bring it back down, and then he kind of just sits there and he's watching the middle. You can castle now, following classical lines. I tend to do that to tuck my queen, my king into safety, and then I'll bring the knight to d2, and that's a standard opening for the London, as opposed to we can't develop it to B3 because our pawn is there. And then I bring up my queen, though not fully part of the London. It's part of it because the reason I do is because I can connect my rooks. And that is the basics of the London system. Then you can play it. It's a very protective posture, then depending, of course, what black does, and then you can go from there. So now we'll go to part 3 of the video, and I hope that was helpful. Hopefully it piqued a little bit of curiosity with regards to the London system. Pardon me. And you can explore this system if you've been using it. Great. There's lots of resources which we're going to look at shortly, and there are so many ways to build and work on chess. Let me change my feed. And when I learned with my dad, we just played and played. He taught me the basic moves and how to castle. I didn't even discover en passant until this year when I started to learn more about chess. I don't even think my dad knew, which wouldn't have surprised me. But there was, the only way you could learn was by looking at books. And I think I had one chess book, which I probably still have somewhere. But that was all there was. And there have been, as I understand things, more books written about chess than all other sports combined. And I've acquired a few chess books, which we will talk about in a future video, but a lot of it is very positional with chess notation, so I have to get out either my board or I have to go online and move the pieces, because I just can't, you can't read it like a book. It has to, you have to work things out, otherwise, at least the way my brain works, I need to visualize it almost tactilely what's going on. So 3 resources I want to mention. The first one is Gotham Chess, and let me find out, let me see, we're going to switch feeds, and then we're going to, where are we here? So Gotham Chess, here he is. So this is Levy Rozman. He's an international master. He is a Twitch streamer for chess and a commentator for chess.com. He's 25. He's a lot of fun to watch. He has a lot of instructional videos. And including, he does one on the London system, which I would recommend, and I have all links below in the description. He was probably my #1 person I go to just to learn. The other thing that he has is he has his own website, Gotham Chess, where you can get different courses, and I have his beginner chess course. Now, full disclosure, with all these resources, I'm not getting paid. There's no affiliate. I've purchased everything that I purchased with my own money, and I have found that his course, let's see, view courses, let's see what we got. Yeah, beginner boot camp. So this is the one I have. It's not overly pricey, but it's really thorough. I haven't finished it. I'm still working through it, but it covers all the basics you can see here: opening, middle game, end games, analysis, and a lot in the style he uses on his website. I fully recommend, if you're learning new and you want to have, of course you can find free stuff on the internet, including his site, which is excellent material. But if you want a cohesive program, then I would entirely recommend this with Gotham Chess. That would be my #1. Another one is the chess website, and we're right here. And this is run by Kevin Butler. He loves to play chess. He's got, according to the website, a 1900 rating. The thing I like about Kevin, it makes sense, and he's got a very easygoing style, which I gravitate towards too. So I find it very relaxing when I'm learning things. So he also has a website, and here it is, and he has a lot of tactics, like say chess tactics and all different things. You can spend hours exploring his site, and his material is well worth it. And the chess site, you get a lot of free stuff. So we go back and say we have openings, and it goes, and you can look at all of these openings. Some are paid, because he does have a subscription, but most of it's for free, and it's very good material, and it all has a video which goes back to his YouTube. So check him out, that number 2. And one more I want to leave with you, and that is King's Crusher, and that he is goes under the name Tryphon Gavriel. He's a candidate master. I like him because he has a very low-key, chill kind of style, which I gravitate. He's also a little bit older, so I can relate being a little bit older. So check his stuff out as well. Additionally, he has a course on Udemy called About the London System, which you can see I've purchased, and I haven't finished it, but I'm going through, but it's very thorough, and I would recommend it if you have any interest in the London system, because it is very thorough, and you can explore it more. He goes through not only the underpinnings of workings of it, but how it relates to history, which I like to learn. So entirely recommend it. If you are going to purchase at Udemy, just wait until they go on sale, because the prices are full price, but they have a sale every month, and that's what I did. I waited until it was on sale, and then I purchased it. So he has a lot of hours. As you can see, it's 20.5 hours of video, and he's quite thorough about it, and I've been entirely happy with it. So if the London system interests you, definitely check that out. So let me switch my feeds again. Hopefully all this is working. And so there you have it. So we reviewed today my first rating, which is very exciting. And now I think if you go on chess.com, let me switch my feed one more time, and let me see where we are. So if we go to home, you can see my rapid rating. Right there is at 826. So that's what I am of today. I went up quite a bit in terms of like that, starting at 400. I lost a game, tied one, so I went down a little bit. I gained up a little bit, but that's where we stand. So today we've reviewed the London system. If you're interested in it, have a look, as well as some of the online resources. As I've said, the material is down below. And with that, well, we'll see you on the next video as I continue with my journey. There's a few things I've been working on, which I'll prepare and get ready for you for the next one. Bye for now.